is the card that we're going to be making today then. So these are all daisies, and whilst they don't look that nice on the screen as they are at the moment, when they are made and folded they look absolutely beautiful. So what I'm going to do is just go through to make it. This is actually a 4x6 card, so you can either use a pre-cut card which is already scored, or I have included the outline for that on there, so you can use this one if you want to. I am going to be using A4 card today, so I'm going to make sure that I change my material sizes to reflect what size of card I'm actually using. So to do that, if you just come over onto the left hand side here, and you can see where it says material size, and you can just change that to be A4. The same with the other two here, so I'm going to click on the yellow mat now, and then I'm just going to change that to be A4 also. And you'll notice that now it's given me an additional mat here, and that's because Cricut isn't very good with its nesting on the mats. So what that means is that I need to go onto this mat here. I'll click on these three dots and move the object, and I'm going to then click on the other yellow mat and click on confirm, and that will have gone up to the top just there. Now I can move that down so that it fits, and you can obviously see that it fits in there. I don't know why Cricut don't sort out their nesting, because this is really annoying. I'm just going to do it again with the second one, and that will have gone there. I could actually even bunch all these up to make it smaller and save even more card, but I'm not going to do that on this particular one. So all of those are on there, and then the last mat that I've got here is the pink or the lilac coloured piece of card that goes over the top of the card as a little bit of an overlay, and that's got Mum written on it there as well. Now I'm doing this in a pen, but you could also use foil, or you could also do it as a print then cut if you wanted to. So I'm just going to cut all of these mats, and then once they're done I'll come back to you and show you how to assemble the card. When you're setting up your mat, you're going to want to get your piece of card, just get it as close up into the corner as you can, just leaving a small outline around the outside, because your machine won't actually cut the first 5mm on the left hand side or at the top there. So I'm just going to pop that on there. I'm using a standard grip mat today. This is actually a relatively new one, however it doesn't feel very sticky, and I would say that this particular one is actually on a par with a light grip mat when you first get it out of the package. So I'm just going to start off with my yellow daisies, get those done, and then we can start assembling everything and putting it all together. When you're ready to go through to the next screen, if you just click on continue, and now it's found my machine, as you can see, is connected to my computer via USB today. I'm going to be using the medium cardstock setting just here, and as you can see I have it as a bookmark on my screen already. But if you don't have this one as a bookmark, all you need to do is just click on browse all materials and then just type in cardstock and hit enter, and all of your different cardstock options are going to come up. So as you can see, medium cardstock is here. If I just click on it, I get the little tick on the left hand side. I just click on done, and now that's ready to start cutting on my machine. Here are the daisies then, they're all done and they all look fabulous. They have cut really well. This card is actually the cheapest card that you could possibly buy from a wholesaler. The pack of card for 50 sheets is something like £1.75, because it's wholesale prices obviously. Now normally this sort of card doesn't cut very well, but this cuts absolutely brilliantly. So are you ready for this? Look how nicely they've cut. So I'm going to get all these off the mat now, and I'm going to use my little spatula to do that. So let's just get all these bits peeled back. Now we just need to grab our spatula tool and just get underneath them. So the easiest way to do this is to turn your mat over like this and just get underneath, give it a little bit of a flick up with your spatula. This is definitely the easiest way to get your little intricate flowers off of the mat. It does take some time and it is a little bit time consuming, however it is the best way to do it, because you don't want to risk tearing those little petals now that you've got them all done so perfectly. For this next piece then, I'm just going to use a scrap piece that I've used previously for another design. So I do try to use as many scrap pieces in my work as I possibly can. So this is going to be a scrap, and this is the one that's going to have the mum written on it. So I'm going to use a marker. I think I'm going to try this purple glitter. This is a Zebra Doodlers metallic pen, and these fit into the in clump A perfectly on the Cricut, so I'm going to do that now. If you are unfamiliar with how to pop a pen into the machine, I'll show you that now, and then that piece will draw and cut at the same time. Here's my Cricut then, so all I'm going to do is just grab my pen. I'm going to take that lid off and pop it on the top, and I'm going to open clamp A, and then just get your pen and pop it into the top there. Now on Cricut pens, you've got a little marker on the side, so it shows you how far down to push it, but with this one you don't have, so you just have to sort of gauge it by eye and see how far down you want it to go. You don't want it to be too far so that it's going to end up drawing on your mat when you're not actually wanting it to, but it does need to be far enough down so that your machine's going to be able to write when it needs to. So let's just pop this mat in now, and then we're just going to hit go on there, and the machine's going to pull in the mat. It's going to then decide what it's doing first, and I think it will probably do the drawing first, and then it will cut out the square as well. I can see straight away that I'm not happy with the way that's drawn, so I'm going to do it again. So I'm not going to eject this mat once that cut's done. What I'm going to do is just leave that in there. I'm going to just take the pen out and give it a little practice run on something. There you go, make sure it's working properly, and I'm just going to pop it back in, and then I'll just, I think, oops, get that back in there. I'm just going to hit the go button again and just let it do that draw again. So before it starts to do the cut, I'm just going to pause the machine so that it doesn't actually do the cut again. There we go. And we can just eject the mat. There we go, that's done. Perfect. Now that we've got all three mats cut, what we're going to do is start assembling our flowers. So the best way to do this, I have found, is to use one of these little scrapers. This is a little Cricut scraper, and what I'm going to do is just get one of these flowers, and all I'm going to do is just carefully fold it over each petal on the edge of my scraper like that. Now this does take some time to do, but it's going to look so much better than if you were to just glue together the flowers when they're flat, because it's very difficult to manipulate the flower petals once they are all stuck together. So I'm going to do that for each one, and as you can see, it does turn it into like a little 3D petal. So let's do that for all of these, and then we can stick them together and start putting them onto our card. Next is get them into little piles of 3, because each flower needs 3 sets of petals. So if we just put them all into 3s, then we'll know that we've got all of our flowers ready. And now we want to make sure that the hot glue gun is heating up nicely so that we can glue them together properly. Let's get started then with 3 separate sets of petals, and what we're going to want to do is get our hot glue gun and just pop a tiny blob on the bottom of there, and then you'll want to pop that onto your next set of petals, and just make sure that your petals are not on top of each other, so it gives it a really good spread in between the flowers. And then again with this one, you're going to want to make sure that that one is around the same sort of position as the bottom one, but not exactly on top of it. And again, pop a little bit of glue onto there. Pop that onto there. So that one's done, and once they are stuck together, they're really sturdy and they feel quite stiff. So you're going to want to do that with every single one of these flowers that you've got here. They're all stuck together now then, so all we need to do is just clear off any little glue strings or whatever that you might have on there. Glue strings, unfortunately, are part of the course when you're using hot glue, and even though they're annoying, they're just one of those things that you have to get rid of afterwards. Right, so I've had a bit of a change of heart with my card, and I'm going to actually use one of these craft envelopes. So this is a pre-scored, pre-cut card, and these are from Hobbycraft. They are £5 for a pack of 50, so they work out to be pretty good. What I'm going to do is just move all my flowers to one side, and then I've got this scored and folded down this edge here, and what I'm going to do is pop my little mum aperture piece on there now. So I've got some glue in one of these bottles. Let's just put some glue around the edges. There we go. And we can pop that onto there. Make it as central as you can. Okay, now what we're going to do is just open that back out so that's nicely pressed, and these flowers are all going to go just around the outside, so it's a good idea to just place them on before you glue them. Those glue strings are so annoying. You don't have to be overly scientific about your placement, and if you do want to make a couple more, you can always do that if you want to. They are all going to go around the edge like so. So now what we can do is just start gluing them on. So I'm going to just use hot glue again, and I'm going to start off in the one corner. I'm going to put my little embellishments on afterwards. So just a little dot of glue on there and just glue that down. And what I'm going to do is actually start in the four corners like so, and then I'm going to start placing them inwards. I don't necessarily want to keep them all in line with one another. Flowers on then. So now the last thing to do is to put something in the centres of them. So on the ones that I've made into cake toppers and things like that, I've actually cut a little circle out of just some craft cards. So it's very similar to what my actual card's made from, but it's a little bit darker. So it does make it look a little bit more like the centre of a sunflower or something like that. But if you wanted to, what you could do is grab some of these little embellishments, and these are actually ones that I picked up, I think, from the Works. I want to say the Works, and the reason that I say that as a possibility is because they actually come in these little glass jars here, and all I've done is just gotten one of these little plastic boxes and just decanted them in. So I've got a lot of little glass jars on my shelf over here, just empty, because I've kept them in case I want to use them for future projects. There's round ones, there's teardrops, you've got little stars, there's flowers. I'm wondering actually if these little green flowers might look quite cute in there. Let's just turn that over and have a look. Yeah, I quite like the way that looks. What do you think? I quite like that. Let's try a couple of those inside. So what I'm going to do now is just use my Pick Me Up, which is from Silhouette. I love this product. It's one of the best things I've ever bought. I don't know if it's going to work very well with the hot glue because I only need a really tiny bit. Let's see. That worked brilliantly. Right, I'm going to put those into all of those and then my card will be done. The last thing then that will be added to this card is an insert. Now, I'm not going to do this on camera now, but on the file that you'll be able to find on Cricut Design Space, I will include an insert card for you. So all you'll do with that is just glue it down on one side, and then it will allow you to sort of jazz up the inside of your card and write the card to your mum or whoever you've decided to put on the front. It doesn't have to be for your mum. But yeah, I'll do that and I'll add that on for you. So let's add a few more of these cute little flowers on and then we'll be done. So there's one last thing to do now, is just to get rid of all of these glue strings that have come about from putting those last little bits of embellishment onto the card, and then that will be it. This project is going to be available for you to use on my profile on Cricut Design Space. So if you don't know how to find a profile, I will link a video above now and down below in the description for you, so you'll be able to find my profile and follow me and share all of my different projects that I put on here as videos and stuff like that. So if you have enjoyed this video and you've loved making this card with me, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Drop me any questions or comments that you've got down below, and if you have found this video to be interesting and useful, I'd love it if you would hit the like button because that really helps me ever such a lot. And I'll see you again soon for another video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!